The problem with male characters in gacha games. I think this will definitely be an interesting video to see from a guy named Heapers. Because, well, this topic has been talked about already a few times. Not a few times, but plenty of times by now. Even me and Jet, we spoke like earlier today about the like with male characters and their design. So I want to see what this guy says. This will be very interesting to see, like, other people's perspective on male characters, because there's a lot of back and forth on both sides. So let's just take a look at what another
Ever
person
since
may
the launch
say.
of Hoyo vs. Genshin Impact, the gacha gaming audience has never been as large and diverse as it is today. What
Mm-hmm.
was once a medium of game catered primarily towards straight male demographics has now become a medium for all people alike. And
Yes.
naturally, this has affected Hoyo's portfolio moving forward, as we moved away from the female cast of Honkai Impact 3rd to the varied cast of Genshin Impact, then Honkai Star Rail,
Yep.
and now Zenless Zone
Zone
Zero.
zero. Mm-hmm.
As these titles become more widespread by the day, their audiences become even more varied than ever before, so much so that the medium as a whole has experienced developments that no one would have expected. Example being the widely renowned gacha game Love and Deed Space from the developer Infold, a title well known for its male cast that caters primarily towards straight female audiences.
And this is the and they use this gotcha game as the alley oop that male characters work. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Wuthering Waves, the action adventure RPG, JRPG, excuse me, is not the same as a Otome game. They're not the same. This doesn't work. But let's continue this video to see what if he brings up some points.
The fact that the game such as this was able to compete on the same level as Hoyoverse shows just how much the gacha gaming medium has evolved over these years. Yet, despite these developments, there has been some discourse stirring in the gacha gaming circle as of late. While yes, there definitely has been a larger variety of characters than ever before, some players still express concern regarding the cast of these titles, most notably, the lack of male characters.
All right.
And the lack of melanin, but that's a topic for another day. Of course, I don't think this should be surprising. As I said, the gacha gaming medium was originally built upon catering towards straight males, leading
Yeah.
to an abundance of female characters, while male characters remain the outliers.
Yep.
But the year is 2025, with titles such as Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail creating some of the most popular male characters that gacha games have ever seen. So we asked the age-old question, is the
Yeah, Jean Lee was so popular, dude. I fucks with Jean Lee a lot. Like, a lot, a lot. I fucks with that character.
lack of male characters really a problem in the gacha gaming space? Or is it just a non-issue that is blown up by a loud minority? Let's talk about the problem with male characters in gacha games.
Now, I don't think it's blown up from the loud minority. I feel like there actually is a little bit of a concern, and there's definitely two parties on two sides. So I really hope he goes into detail with both sides. And if he doesn't, then I'm gonna bring up the points myself. That's ZZZ music. Or no, that's Honkai back there. Never mind.
To better capture the concerns regarding the cast of these games, let's run through the numbers of the previously mentioned titles, diving into each of their gender ratios, and this is excluding protagonists and their separate forms.
Yep.
In games such as Honkai Impact 3rd and Love and Deed Space, their roster is exclusively made up of one gender, that
Yeah.
being female and male respectively.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
No surprises there. In Genshin Impact, the roster as of version 5.7 is composed of 34 males and 54 females, for a total of 88 characters, making that a gender ratio of roughly 1 to 1.5, which is rather healthy for a gacha game on this scale.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
In Honkai Star Rail, the roster as of version 3.3 is composed of 24 males and 46 females, for a total of 70 characters, making that a gender ratio of almost 1 to 2. A bit more imbalanced than its predecessor, but I would still say that is within reason. In Zenless Zone Zero, however, the roster as of version 2.0 is composed of 9 males and 27 females, for a total of 36 characters.
And it's gonna get worse than ZZZ, bro. The lineup of fucking females they have is gonna get even fucking worse. And the fact that is, I like ZZZ too, bro. You know, I cover this shit. But man, they could really have some cool ass fucking niggas in the game as playable characters. But my god, they keep making females that are goonable, and that's the problem. because that means I'm gonna pull.
making that a gender ratio of an equal 1 to 3. This is the most egregious example among the Horrorverse titles, with 9 male characters that include the likes of Lycon and the Bears.
Basically,
Now there is one more gacha game that I want to discuss, because I think this game has also been in the limelight as of late, especially regarding this gender ratio discourse. I want to talk about Kuro Games' Wuthering Waves, a title that was released around the same time as that of Zenless Zone Zero. Looking at the numbers, as of version 2.4, Wuthering Waves has a roster that is composed of 8 males and 25 females, for a total of 33 characters, making that a gender ratio of just above 1 to 3, which is actually worse than that of ZZZ's. And when you take into account future characters that were teased,
yeah, bro, it is like 5 females and 1 guy, bro. It's fucking wild, dude. It's fucking wild. And I be hearing the waifu enjoyers be like, man, I can't spend on all these characters. At least I have 1 skip banner. Yeah, man. The 1 skip banner that's probably going to be all the way towards the end, because I know how this is going to go. I'm going to tell y'all right now, it's going to be Perlova, then Agosta and Uno, then probably Galbernia, and then the guy, and then Chisa. Yeah. Y'all going to have to go through 4 of these characters to get to your formidable skip banner.
the ratio is looking rather bleak for Wuwa. And even if these ratios may not look too bad to some folk, there has been plenty of recent discussion regarding the lack of male characters. This is more notable in a game like Genshin Impact, where despite having the most balanced ratio among the titles, players have still voiced their concerns about the lack of male characters. This is because, within the 5.x cast alone, there are only 4 new male characters in comparison to 12 new female characters, with only one of them being a 5-star character.
Bro, they fucked up Capitano so badly, man. They fucked over Capitano so bad. And blame it all on poor story writing, man. Blame it all on poor story writing of the Daemon Ex Machina they did and the story plot. It's wild.
Another notable example is Wuthering Waves. Since the release of 1.0, there have only been 2 new male characters in comparison to 15 new female characters. And even though there is 1 more male character down the line, that's still only 1 new male character among 5 new female characters. On the contrary, we have titles like Honkai Star Rail, which technically has a worse gender ratio than that of Genshin Impact, yet at the same time, there isn't as much talk about this game's gender ratio. This is because, as of version 3.0, the players have already been introduced to 2 new male characters,
Anoxa and
Mighty.
Finon.
And even
Mighty.
though they were not playable at the time, the prospect of them being playable in the future is enough to satiate the fans. And this is just shortly after the addition of Sunday, who is arguably one of the more popular characters in gacha games as of late. That is not to say that there
Yeah.
are suddenly more males than females, however. Finon and Mighty are only 2 characters among a cast of 5, 6 if you include the Herda, 8 if you include all the Tribios. But because the male characters actually feel present in the game, in addition to the recent release of Anaxa, players are less likely to complain about an unbalanced gender ratio. Just look at how relevant a character like Finon is in HSR's story, and compare that to a character like Brant in Wuwa, who only really shows up every so often and doesn't contribute too much to the overall narrative. So because of the characters that have been relevant in recent times, the lack of male characters is more noticeable than ever before, leading to rising concerns. Of course, this can all change on a whim. For all we know, these gacha games could
Bro, I love bro Lighters. Yo, Lighters trailer was so fucking cool when it dropped. Just hearing the music and everything, it's God, bro, ZZ animation so fucking gassed.
decide to release
Alright,
3
let's
or 4
continue.
male characters back to back. And I'm sure someone out there is having an aneurysm at that thought. But as of the making of this video, the current trend of character releases leave much to be desired for those who do want a more balanced gender ratio, or even just another male character or 2.
I really hope he goes into like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything. I'll wait.
Now the question to ask is, why exactly are male characters less common? This may seem obvious, but there are some semantics to discuss. Despite the explosion of new players onto the gacha scene, who come from all walks of life, a majority of the gacha gaming circle is still primarily made up of straight males. which shouldn't be a surprise given that this demographic was what the medium was initially built upon.
Yes.
Just because the circle has become more diverse doesn't mean that the core audience has left.
Nope.
In fact, it has only grown ever since, no thanks to the growing popularity of gacha games. This would also entail the growth of other demographics that may still prefer female characters over male characters,
Yeah.
such as lesbians or Path to Nowhere fans. And because these demographics make up for a majority of the audience, female characters tend to guarantee a profit more often than not, whereas male characters bring less so. Here's a food for thought. Do the developers behind these titles bank on their predominantly male audience to cash in on a male character? Or do they just play it safe and make another female character that is more likely to raise their profit margins? Of course, they are going to take the safe route.
Yeah. The games, I'm glad he said that. When me and Jet talked about this earlier, gacha devs are going to take the safe route because they know it's going to work, and that's just the formula. With these character designs, with male characters, right? It would be nice for these male character designs to not always have to look like pretty boys. Because that's the problem. That's one of the problems. That's why some guys just, well, most guys don't want to pull on the guy characters, is because they're just the same pretty boy, long hair type character, right? And there's nothing wrong with having long hair. It's just that's the common trend we see with these male characters. Now, granted, Brant and Jane Liao got short hair, so that's good. But Jian got the long hair and the ponytail. Kachar got long hair as well. And then we have the new dude, Wei Yong. He also has long hair too. So, you know what I mean? Like, people want to have like a male character that looks like a Geralt from The Witcher or a Kratos, God of War. You know what I mean? Like, people want male characters to look crazy, you know, out of the not really out of the ordinary, flexing their muscles. You know, a Gilgamesh would be cool. Characters like that. Like, that's the type of male characters guys would summon on, because Gilgamesh is fucking cool. Like, Gilgamesh from Fate is so fucking cool, dude. That's why he's one of the most popular characters in Fate's history. He's really fucking cool. I'd pull for him too and play him as well in like a fighting game and shit. But we're not getting those type of male characters because in their eyes, the gacha devs' eyes, they think selling attractive guys to the female audience is enough for them to make a profit, which it's not. It's just not. Like, you can sell to that audience, yes, and I know that audience is hungry every single time for a guy, but it's just not gonna work for us, the majority audience. If you can make a guy character that will please the core audience, and yes, there will be that little audience that the female audience that might like that character as well, good on us. But guys are just, they just don't want to see pretty boys all the time. That's it. That's just simply how it is. They just don't want to see pretty boys. They want to see the guild. I said guild arts. Well, actually, no. Yeah, guild art. Guild arts from Fairy Tail. That would be, dude. They want to see the gilfs. You know, the strong, manly gilfs, niggas that are just badass, got muscles, all that shit, right? And they're crazy, etc., etc. Not even, don't have to be crazy. You can do whatever you want. There's just a whole bunch of possibilities for male character designs. Robotic arm, like they did with Zhang Liao. It did fucking demon wings. Just do whatever, bro. You can literally do whatever to make the male characters look like, you know, diverse and different. Not the same pretty boy template that we've been getting for a long time now.
Because as bleak as it is, these gacha games are meant to make money. Well, all games do, but gacha games especially. And as much as we can say devs listened, they can only listen so much until they need to invest into another nuclear reactor.
Oh.
I mean, be player friendly. And that's not even covering other factors, such as female characters often being given more time and attention by the developers. HSR may have been better about this whole ordeal, but that's not to say it is completely for your fault. Take a look at their version 3.2, where Cassers was given all the love and care in her design, her kit, and her marketing. She even received an exclusive animation to goad players into pulling her when they first launched the update. Now compare that to Anaxa, the other character of version 3.2, who couldn't even afford a unique animation for his follow-up attack.
Oh my god, they did the same thing. I didn't even realize that. Wow. Damn.
And they are both considered anniversary characters, by the way. Another factor that favors female characters over male characters is the meta. If we take another look at HSR, you notice that all the meta-defining characters have been female. Ron May, Acheron, Robin, Firefly, the Herda, Tribby, Castris. They all have shifted the meta in some meaningful way. And while there definitely are male characters who are great on their own accord, rarely are they ever considered meta-defining, aside from maybe Sunday. But even then, his potential has yet to be fully realized. Now, Finon could potentially uproot this trend, but
Finon is, I think from what I've heard, Finon is gonna be crazy.
he would be an outlier rather than being the norm. And this applies not just to HSR, but to most of these other gacha games as well. So with all this in mind, am I saying that the only way to get more male characters is just to drop more money on them? Everything I said up to this point does trend towards that conclusion, right? Well, maybe. But at the end of the day, this is all just purely hypothetical.
Yeah.
Not to sound like a hypocrite, but I want to clarify that the revenue argument is not completely sound. It is an objective fact that female characters make more money. But it is also an objective fact that they tend to release more often than male characters, which means those who want to pull female characters will naturally have to spend more. They are not going to have enough free pulls to get most, if not all of them, whereas those who want to pull male characters are given more time to save their spendings. Of course, that doesn't stop them from—
That is very fucking true. I'm glad he said that, because realistically, for the people, the husbando enjoyers who want to get these type of characters, simply just can't, right? No, let me rephrase that. They can, but they don't have to spend money because they've been saving all their pulls for that specific character. And that's why male character sales, another reason, are so low, because they don't pump out these male characters like crazy in order for, the female enjoyers to be like, shoot, now I gotta break my wallet because they got like 2 more guys I really like that are coming down the way. That's not that they don't have that thought process, because the dudes are just pretty rare. And that is a really good food for thought right there. I'm glad he said that point. Because for us, the waifu enjoyers, like I play for anybody. I don't care who I get. Like I literally I'm pulling for everybody in fucking Weathering Waves anyways. But as you saw, right? I had like with Zani appearing, I had to get Zani, Shakona, Kartathea, Lupa, and that was it. But then they dropped that fucking sneak peek of characters. Perlova, Chisa, Augusta, Uno, like Galbernia. That is us right now. We would have to fork over our wallets in order to literally get those fucking characters. So that's our thought process for the people who want to spend, and they're like, shit, man, now I gotta spend money to get this female too. I'm gonna have to skip this character so I can save pulls, and then if I don't have enough pulls, then I gotta spend on this, and then I gotta, oh wait, but there might be future drip marketing than that, and I gotta save. It's like that's basically male character. Not male characters. That's basically like the majority audience when they have a whole bunch of female characters to worry about. But for the female enjoyers who enjoy male characters, they don't have that luxury because they just don't be pumping out male characters like that. They can literally save up 200 pulls, right, for Zhang Liao, and he was given out for free. Like, they can literally, like Gion, right? They pull for Gion. They save or spend money to pull for Gion. Then they save their pulls for the next guy. Zhang Liao, give him for free. Just like that. Just give him for free. And they could also just be like, all right, well, I'm just going to pull for his weapon. And boom, they got his weapon. So now they got to wait. Then we go all the way to 2.1, and then we get to Brant. And they're like, all right, well, now I have like over 200 pulls saved up again. I'm just going to pull for Brant and his weapon. And then I'm just going to wait again. And that's the thought process. Like, they don't have to spend, and they can just keep waiting and saving. You can't break, unless you are able to produce more males consecutively. That's how you're going to break the female player base's wallets and be like, okay, you know what? Now I got to actually whip out my money and spend. That's how you're going to do it. But for right now, it's just not the case.
from pulling female characters and vice versa. But the fact stands, female characters are granted more spending opportunities than male characters are. Besides this, you also have to ask the question, why would fans of male characters want to spend money on these games when said games don't look to respect their wishes in the first place? A game like Woo was already on track to releasing only 2 or 3 male characters a year, male characters that are most likely going to be sidelined by their female counterparts. So why would these fans even bother financially supporting the game? Why would anyone want to gamble their money on the hopes that these games add more male characters when that was never a guarantee in the first place? This whole argument of husbando fans need to spend more money to get more husbandos has always been hypothetical with no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's bringing up that argument? Like, I've never heard of, I'm gonna spend more money on a male character and they're gonna give us more males for hopefully better profit. I don't think that's gonna work.
Concrete evidence. Just look at Genshin Impact. I can't say for certain that characters like Ito, Ayato, and Sino sell banners, and the female characters have always outsold their male counterparts. Yet, Genshin still chose to debut several 5-star male characters almost back to back, so clearly sales did not determine the output of their characters. And if revenue was the sole reason as to why male characters are less common, then why not create more male 4-star characters? Characters like Yuhu and Lumi were never going to sell banners, so if a game were to release 4-star characters, having some be male wouldn't conflict with anyone's interest. And that's another female 4-star character, isn't it?
Now, let's move on.
Regardless of whether we agree or disagree with these reasons, at the end of the day, we can only guess as to why gacha games are hesitant to release more male characters. With that being said, should players just not voice their opinions for more male characters? This may just be me trying to be optimistic, but even with the so-called lack of male characters, there are still more of them nowadays than there was some time ago. Going back to Hoyoverse, their road to acclaim started with titles that only featured female characters, a direction that they could have just continued. Yet instead, they decided to take a risk. In Honkai Impact 3rd, they proposed the idea of playable male characters, albeit to a rather cold reception, but then decided to release titles like Tears of Themis, which is the complete opposite of their prior games, as well as this small little title known as Genshin Impact, choosing not to appeal to just one audience, but rather to everyone. And even beyond just Hoyo's portfolio, take a look at Kuro Games' Punishing Grey Raven, a title that unapologetically took after Honkai Impact 3rd, and yet, they still chose to include male characters in their roster when they could have simply played it safe.
Yeah, that is true. That is 100% true. A lot of these games, like, if it works, then why even try to change at all? Fair point.
Just ignore the last year or so of character releases.
Oh yeah, and don't worry about this year release as well. People were hoping for a new Kamui frame. It did not come because, sadly, the DMC collab characters Virgil and Dante have taken up the male character slots for this year. So sad, but it's true.
And that's not even mentioning some long-running titles that have had their fair share of beloved male characters, like Gilgamesh from Fate Grand Order.
Damn! Wow. Look what I said. Did I call it? Did I fucking call it?
Or Sandolphin from Grand Blue Fantasy.
This nigga's popular as hell in Grand Blue, bro. This nigga is so popular. Even there is literally a VA, a JPVA, that is so obsessed with this fucking character. Like, she has all the units of this fucking character, man. It's fucking
I'm sure
wild.
that there are plenty of other examples that escape my mind, but the point stands. Change has happened before, and nothing is stopping change from happening now.
But he's so bro, he's so fucking cool to play though.
Regardless of how discouraging it is to want more male characters, just know that the environment back then was much less receptive than it is today. And yet these games still somehow found a way to bring male characters into the fold. So long as players make their voices heard, then the developers would maybe, possibly consider listening. For example, with the recent announcements of Chu Yuan in Wuthering Waves, he has received an incredibly positive reception by not just global, but by CN as well. Revenue aside, if that isn't a telltale sign of male characters being in demand, then I don't know what is. The big takeaway from all of this is that people should obviously voice their opinions, so long as they are being rational. And this applies to both ends, not just to husbando fans. Because let me just say, telling someone to just go play Love and D Space is not a sound argument.
It's not. It really is not. And I'm just gonna tell y'all right now, if you do shit like this, bro, don't play gachas. Straight up. Straight up. Don't play fucking gacha games at all. We are in a new environment. right? And a new era of gacha games, okay? I enjoy my waifus, all right? I do. But I'm not gonna be the, let me rephrase that. I'm not gonna be a fucking idiot and tell people to go play an Atome game, right? If you want to play with some guys. I'm not gonna say that. That's the dumbest shit I've heard ever. Because clearly that's not what people want. People just want to play strong, powerful, cool looking guy characters in their action JRPG gacha, my nigga. That's it. That's all they're asking for. They don't want to date these characters. That might be your fantasy. Cool. If you have a fantasy like that, if that's sure, whatever, go ahead. But most people just want to play as a guy. That's it. They just want to play as a guy and show up and have cool animations and shit like that. That is dead ass it. Go play Love and D Space is the most fucking retarded argument I've ever heard. Especially coming from the waifu enjoyers. Not the casual waifu enjoyers, but the very irrational waifu enjoyers that are like, oh my god, if there's a dude in this game, I'm never gonna play it. Like, shut the fuck up. Gender should not be one of the reasons why you play these fucking games. Or any game, I should say. Let me rephrase that. Because if I remember correctly, when I was playing Overwatch, I played everybody on the roster. Reinhardt is one of my favorite tanks to play in the game. I can play me some Sigma. I tried playing Genji, but I'm not that good with him. McCree, when I used to have to aim, I was okay. Lucio, tried him out for a little bit. He was fun though. I will say, he was definitely fun. But gender should not be one of the reasons why you should be playing certain games, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Oh my god. For me, if a character is fun, cool, interesting, exciting, whatever, I'm gonna enjoy the character, no matter the gender. It really doesn't matter to me.
For one, this does not apply to those who like both male and female characters, which is more common than not. And two, this assumes that male characters are the only thing they care about, when in reality, male characters only make up for one of the reasons why they play certain games. Love and Deep Space is not going to have the gameplay of Punishing Grey Raven or Zenless Zone Zero.
Oh my... Oh, bro. I'm already loving this. Yeah. Nope. You get a sub and a like from me. Thank you for somebody else actually saying this shit, because my fucking lord, dude. I'm glad people... Oh my god, bro. I'm glad some people just don't get it when they say, go play Love and D Space. When, nigga, people just want to fucking play as cool guys with the same gameplay as ZZZ and Wuwa. That's it. Nobody wants to play an Atome game, an Atome dating game. Like, that's it.
Love and Deep Space is not going to have the stories of Fate Grand Order or Honkai Star Rail. Love and Deep Space is not going to have the worlds of Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves. You come to Love and Deep Space for Love and Deep Space. And Silas.
I like the look on your face right now.
And yes, I am well aware that there are bad actors out there who do attack others in the name of more male characters. But let's not pretend that the rest of the gacha game community is a paradigm of virtue and goodwill, because on the other end, you have people attacking others just for simply saying that they want another male character or two, and they should all be rightfully condemned for such behavior. Again.
Which is fucking insane. It's the same way with when you're liking lolly characters in gacha games, or just in anime in general. Like, people will condemn you to all hell and back for saying, oh, maybe I want to have like one more lolly, or I like this lolly character. You will get shunned and condemned so much. Don't believe me, bro? Go to my TikTok. Look at all of the times I've talked about the recent ones. Look at the recent ones on my YouTube and TikTok, and just go through the fucking comment section. How about you also go through my comment section where I talked about the virtual idol faction, the Angels of Delusions, and said I'm hyped for that faction, and everybody in that fucking comic section, majority of them were saying, oh, he only likes this faction because he likes kids in real life. And I'm like, yeah, you just can't say anything on the internet, can you? You can't just say I simply like this character. It's insane.
Players should voice their opinions, so long as they are not being irrational to others. So if you do want more male characters in these games, you should absolutely express that. No one should tell you how to feel or think otherwise.
Exactly.
And if they do and are acting malicious towards said opinion, it's best not to engage with them, especially if it's on the hellscape that is the formerly named Twitter.
Jesus, Twitter's fucking... Don't worry about that place. Yeah, it's the same way with providing quality of life for these games. Don't do it in a malicious or a malicious intent at all. Do it from a place of I would like to see more of this, and it would probably be beneficial for the game moving forward because it will provide something for our audience. Don't go in and be like, fuck all you waifu enjoyers. You just get everything you want in the world, and y'all just gonna get another big booby fucking slut character. We don't want that. Those kind of bad actors, we don't know. There's a reason why we don't listen to you people, especially. But for the people that are probably gonna be in my comment section as well, they're just like, hey, I'm just a guy or even a girl that just simply wants to play these type of characters. Bro, there's maybe like a couple people I've seen in my comments that said they would like to play like another character that's Ling Yang. They'd like to play another Shota. That's fine. A-okay, bro. That's literally A-okay. If you like playing whatever character you like, go for it. Nobody, and I mean nobody on the internet should tell you otherwise on what character you want to fucking play. If you want to play Encore Weathering Waves, go for it. If you want to play Gi, go for it. If you want to play Carlotta, go for it. It's just, you should not be deterred on what character you want to play because of some dumb fucks on the internet telling you otherwise because they hate this kind of thing. I'm going to pull for Jufufu and ZZ, and I'm going to enjoy her. And I don't care what other motherfuckers are going to say about it. I'm going to enjoy the game how I feel like it. So
Now, if you couldn't tell from all my yapping, I personally do want more male characters in these games. Not so much as to bring the ratio to an equal 1-to-1, but just more than what we have now. Because despite being a straight male myself, I am of the belief that having more male characters brings more diverse designs and personalities to these games, which is also the same reason why I advocate for characters with more varied backgrounds and skin tones. I want to see the writers and artists behind these games stretch their creativity and imagination when it comes to creating new characters. Because for me, having a varied roster is what makes a gacha game exciting.
yeah, that's facts right there. That is 100% facts. When the fucking world is diverse and different and it makes sense and it's not immersion breaking, you're gonna have some interesting stories and plot lines. I'm telling y'all.
But regardless of what I personally want, I understand the circumstances as to why these gacha games are the way they are. They are a business at the end of the day, and they are naturally going to make decisions that yield them the best results. For some, that may be disappointing to hear, but that's just the unfortunate truth of things. However, that doesn't mean I can't still voice my own opinion, and neither should it mean others can't do the same. If there is even a slight chance of the devs listening, then players should absolutely take that opportunity. And this doesn't just apply to the whole gender ratio thing either, but to other topics of discussion as well, especially when it comes to criticizing these games. So long as we voice our opinions with no malicious intent, that creates a better space to have discussion, rather than just being an outright war zone of people slinging insults and slurs at each other. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in.
Because low-key, I would be down for the next Sentinel Resonator to be a guy. Now, I don't know how he's gonna look. I hope he's like this arrogant buff guy. This arrogant buff shredded fucking guy. That's a Sentinel Resonator. Where he's just like, I don't give a fuck what you're doing, Rover. I'm doing my own thing, my own way. That will be fucking cool.
If you liked the video, then do please leave a like. If not, then a dislike will do. And subscribe to the channel if you—
Yeah, oh no, this was a really good video. This was honestly a really fucking good video. I basically yapped in like certain parts of talking about like the designs and talking about certain characters, and I basically gave out a lot of good points. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this guy's channel. He brought up a lot of good points, and I will see all you guys later. Peace, boys.
I ain't gon' let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost beats.